Oh, okay, now we got business. Okay, I was wondering what happened to me. Oh, Ezra, how are you?
Great. I think the first link that they put in the chat wasn't good. That's
right.
Oh,
no,
okay. No.
I'm going to try to go live on Facebook, and then we'll take a minute.
It was a broken link. When I added the fires, I erased the last number on the link.
Oh, okay.
That's what happens when you try to get too fancy. Rabbi Charlop, you are now the host, so I'm going to sign off.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Feel good. Feel better.
Thank you.
What's new, Ezra?
Baruch Hashem. Just, same old, different day. Today's the last day of Zoom school for my kids. So they're excited, but not like usually. The last day of school is usually a lot more excitement. They've been home for, 4 months now. So it's like,
yeah.
But I'll tell you, listening to your share on the Sfas Emes, I sent it to my brother. He told me how he learned it over Shabbos, and he told me he was at so he told it over. The whole said this is what the Rebbe lived for. Shlichus to bring Hashem into the world. So you should know your YouTube's videos go very far.
Okay, great. Shalom, Howie.
Hi, Rabbi Charlop. How you doing?
Okay, good. Yosef wasn't feeling well. Joe wasn't feeling well, so we sent out the link just now. But I think we're going to go anyway, and we'll try to do a little learning. We'll see what we got.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, here we go. Good. How's your minion going?
Good. It expanded. Some of the shows, a new show opened up. One of my regular original where I grew up just opened up. So I've been doing I like the hours they do a plug. So that works a little better for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank God for plug. That's like
Yeah, exactly.
Particularly Chicago this time of year. So
I said I did the plug.
Yeah.
I did the plug in the early, so I'm like, okay, it works. I did it before, so it can be within my minhag, so nobody.
Got it. Okay, let's jump into this. If somebody joins us, that's great. I sent out the piece, and if not, you can listen to it. A fascinating piece by Rav Tzadok. I just find him to be such a stimulating sefer. He says like this: Eitzos l'makshava zaros v'hirhurim. What do we do about thoughts that come to us that are disturbing? It could be worry. It could be having to do with, sexual thoughts. In general, hirhurim, zaros, and machshava zaros v'hirhurim. Thoughts that come to our head. We spend a lot of time during our day with hirhurim, with our thoughts. And things which are not necessarily don't seem to be overly helpful to us in our avodah Hashem. So we're going to have two approaches, as we'll explain. Who mitzvahs tefillin, tzitzis for tefillin, all right? We're going to hopefully get a deeper look at what our tzitzis are about, what our tefillin is about, and how that affects how it can hopefully affect our internal world and our what goes on in our mind. Kamosha Omru, the Chamim say in the Gemara in Sota, V'schar imischut va'ad saroch na. Right? Chachamim say a very famous drasha. Abram told Paro he told the Melech Sodom. Abram told Melech Sodom after he won the battle. Melech Sodom says, "I want to give you money. Give me back to the people, and I want to give you money." And Abram said, "I don't want to take anything. I don't want to take a string. I don't want to take a string, and I don't want to take a shoelace, but here it means like more of a these leather shoelaces. I don't want anything. So the Chachamim say the fact that he said he didn't want a string and he didn't want a shoe strand, whatever, in that Zochu Lebanav Lechut Shel Techelis Ritzua Shel Tefillin. He merited because of that to have a string of Techelis and the straps on his tefillin. Right? Love to see how that works. That's what the Chachamim saying in the Gemara in Sota. Why? What's the connection between Avram said, I don't want to have anything to do with what you're going to give me, with talis and tefillin. So he says like this, Keshorish kol adimyonos v'machshavas zaros, hu rak b'leiv chomed le'enei olam hazeh. A very big cloud, a big rule, gentlemen, that the source, the root of thoughts that come to us that pull us into this world are things basically stem from the fact that we have a heart that desires this world, wants the different things having to do with this world. That pulls us in. Abel hanoki mizel legamri ka Avram Avinu alav v'sholom, but someone who was pure from this, like Avram, shemidoso zikuch ahavos v'hatayvos bilti l'Hashem levado, because Avram, as we know, was the pillar of Ahava, right? And he took the Ahava and he purified it, right? That was because that's always the quality. Always the quality is going to be that you have Ahava and you have the purification of the Ahava, right? That's always going to be the challenge. We give a certain midah, and what are you going to do with that midah? So Avram was all about Ahava, and the process was to purify the Ahava. Bilti l'Hashem levado, right? V'nizbarer az, we even see amazing things by Avram. I just want to say, we don't usually get into this whole thing, but by Avram, when he said when he was walking to Mitzrayim and he saw Sarah's reflection in the water, he says, "Now I know you're a beautiful woman." So like he hadn't been looking, and so it's hard to picture what exactly that means. But on the other hand, there is such a concept that Avram was purifying his love, the loves that he had, in order to turn that love to Hashem. In his bara az commotion namar, it says, and that's why this pasuk came in. He says, "I don't want anything from olam hazeh." When he was told he's going to give this, that, again, listen. Everybody, person was to say, would you rather be driving, would you rather be driving in a Chrysler or a BMW, right? Most of us would say, I think a BMW. It would be like someone said, "I'm giving you two cars. I'll give you one of two cars, right? I'll give you either a BMW, or I'll give you a Chrysler." You'd be like, dude, like that, that's not the hardest choice I made all week, right? By Avram Avinu, it was like,
too good,
like by Avram Avinu, like why should I go one way or the other? Like why would I want one over the other? He had no interest in a BMW. The BMW was better for him for his avodah. It made him closer to Hashem, so he wants a BMW. Okay. V'lo tamrani ashar, because he didn't want to say he didn't want anyone to say that he made Avram rich. He didn't want anything from this world in and of itself. Whatever Hashem gives him, because when he said he didn't want them, he was basically saying, I don't want olam hazeh for in and of itself. He wanted these things that he wanted olam hazeh, but he should be protected from olam hazeh. He shouldn't get sucked into it. And talis and tefillin that he got was hashomros osam gamke mizeh. All right. So far we got this. Is just we're going to do this piece little piece at a time. We want to know our minds go to all sorts of different places, right? We get worried, we get tivus, we get all sorts of things. What is that all about? In general, that's all about the fact that we have a heart that desires this world. Our heart desires the pleasures of this world. Now, there's nothing wrong with the pleasures of this world. But the question is it something in and of itself? or is it something that can be used? So Avraham Avinu was on the highest level. He wanted the things in of itself, right? He wanted things just for its connection, not for things in of itself. So we're going to have to see, how does Talis and Tefillin fit into that? That's what our subject is today. But tzitzis mefurish re'isim. So to understand how tzitzis help us, so we have a pasuk. It's much easier. Pasuk says you should see them, suru, and you go after your hearts. Now, I'm going to throw this one out. Normally, I've been just kind of reading, but so I see we got the Fleischer brothers. We got the big lamdanim here today, because I know the Fleischer's a big lamdanim. All right. So the Maisa, it says lo sasur acharei levavchem v'acharei neichem. Don't go after your heart. And after, you guys can't ask yourself. No, this is like, you guys, no question. You can't, right? Don't go after your heart and after your eyes, which means, now, is it something, are we going to uproot? According to that pasuk, you shouldn't go, what are you wearing your tzitzis for? You shouldn't go after your eyes, you go after your heart and after your eyes. Are we getting rid of the types according to that pasuk? Are we knocking them out? No. I never got it right away. We're not knocking it out. It's lo sasuru, which means you don't want it to get pulled in by it. It's there, right? It's going to be present. The only thing is the tzitzis are going to help us to not get sucked into that reality. As he says, "V'loshen lo sasuru, mashmash lo she'ya'akar hiror alev milev legamri." He's not completely uprooting it. Rak she'yeh b'kocho litchosa. If you have your tzitzis, you should be able to push it off. That's what we're trying to accomplish over here, right? So it's going to be present, but you don't want to get pulled in by it. Ki kol zman sha'odam nizkar ba'ol malchus shemayim, ba'ol Torah, ba'ol mitzvahs. If a person has in mind ol malchus shemayim and the connection with Hashem, with Torah and mitzvahs, sha'olav yochel b'nei b'kal ligor b'yetzer. So then he can more easily get angry and fight against the Yetzer Hara. Lichos kol makshavos chutz mizeh. He can fight all the makshavos except for this. Rak pa'ulas hayetzer. Again, so when he's involved in Torah, again, this is very important. The Baal Tanya says this also. When a person, the big tzaddikim, they can be just like hanging out, and they're not bothered by this. They don't have to fight extra with their Yetzer, because it's just like they're not interested, right? But for most of us, pretty much everybody on the planet, you have to have some sort of weapons to fight. The weapons to fight are Torah mitzvahs, which are why when we daven, you do Kabbalah Shabbos, you're learning some Torah. So you don't get so sucked in, because there's a power that Hashem gave into our Torah and our Tefillah and into our Maisim Tovim that keeps us preoccupied with the higher part of who we are. And when a person is not involved with those things, he gets sucked into the lower part, right? So the lo sasuru is where your tzitzis, you're going to still have these thoughts, but we're going to be able to push them off because you're going to be involved in something which keeps you protected, right? We both say we get that, right? So they're not disappearing yet. We're going to talk about tefillin. Tefillin are going to hopefully we're going to try to knock them out. But we're not going to knock them out with tzitzis. Tzitzis are going to be, they're there, the machshav is there, but we're going to keep us busy. We'll keep us involved in mitzvahs, and those mitzvahs, well, give us the protection against our lower self. Rak, pulas a yetzer lashkicho mizeh. The yetzer doesn't want us learning. He doesn't want us davening. He doesn't want us doing good deeds. The reason being, because mitzvahs, let's call it, right? Because the reason is because he wants this to bring us to our lower self, right? That's in general. The Yetzer is not just interested that we should eat cheeseburgers. You know what I mean? It's not like he's not like so dumb. You know, it's not like, oh well, I want to get falafel, eat like a fatty piece of of lobster. You know what I mean? Like he's like mom, she's like fiending lobsters, fiending shrimp. You know, he's like Poshib shot's not what's going to happen. Right? The Poshib shot is he's going to try to bring me to my lower self, right? And by bringing my to lower self means the part of me that's interested in this world, the part of me that's not interested in connecting on a higher level to Hashem and to Klal Yisrael, and to the world, right? and he's going to try to bring me there. How does he do that? He wants me to forget about learning, wants me to forget about davening, because he knows that that's the tool that we can use to overcome. So you ever wonder why it's hard to learn, why it's hard to daven? Because the Yitzhar understands that it's mamish, it's power for us. Okay. Yeah. So the Yitzhar wants to make us forget. The Gemara says very powerful words. The Gemara in the Nedarim says the time that the Yetzer Hara is in touch, the Yetzer Tov is, you don't even remember it, right? Person's angry, you don't remember. A person gets sucked into a taiva, you don't remember, right? Person starts whatever, different pleasures of this world. Let's leave it at that. Person forgets, there's no Yetzer Tov. It's like, he doesn't even remember anymore. Like, what was I thinking? I'm just having such a good time, or I'm like, that's what the Gemara says. So he wants us to forget about it. Shneimar, it says, the Adam lo zocher, person doesn't even remember. The Gemara says that there's a person who's a wise person. When he gets involved with crazy things, he doesn't even remember. Why? All of the thoughts, the good thoughts that he has about connecting to Hashem, he just forgets about. He doesn't even remember. He doesn't have it in his mind at all. That's what mitzvahs of tzitzis is about, to remind us. The Gemara says in Zohar, the Sof Parshas Shalach, Shehu haritzua le'elokah, bishaya u'ma'areris hayira. Right? It takes us away from the bad inclination, and u'ma'areris hayira ala adam, and brings us yira. Va'al yedei, a certain awe, a certain connection to Hashem on a holding ourselves back. Va'al yedei zeh mispatlin kol hamidas olam hazeh. Because of the fact that we're connected, we get disconnected from olam hazeh. Kishenizkar gam yiras ha'onish, we remember one of two things. And this will be a subtle point now. We have blue and we have white, right? Now, Yaakov, I know for a while you've been wondering what's the difference between the blue and the white. So this is important, all right? He says as follows: the blue, gam kem yiras ha'onish, al yedei chut tchelis. The blue reminds us of Shemayim and reminds us of Onish. The Ein Tzarech Lomim Miyiras HaRomamus, the white is supposed to remind us of the awe of Hashem, of the greatness of Hashem. Okay, I don't think we have to get into that, but that's the idea that tzitzis are going to be protecting us, or surrounding us with an environment of purity. So even though we have to deal with the Yetzer Hara, and even though he's still present, but if we wrap ourselves up in a world, which means putting ourselves in an environment of holiness, of Torah, of tefillah, of mitzvahs, we're going to surround ourselves. We're going to make ourselves like a little space suit, so to speak. We're going to walk through this world, and we're not going to get damaged by those things. It doesn't mean that it's not there in tzitzis, but it means we're going to be surrounded by an environment of connection. Okay. Remember the mitzvah that's connected to it, the Eza Kriyishma, and that through the tzitzis will remember Kriyishma, ki al yedei hayira u'makabel alav al malchus shemayim. Because again, when he's wrapped up in that world and he has the yira, he has like the fear because of the reality of living in this different environment, this holier environment. So then Kriya Shema will be the thing he can connect to. The Zoch Le'ava, and even not only that, then he also gets Ahava. The V'ahavta v'achakach u'kshartem l'tfilin. And then we're going to get into tefillin. All right? So now we're going to talk about tefillin. Now, what's the difference between what is tefillin going to be doing for us that tzitzis are not doing for us? So he says like this: Ki tzitzis eno el levush shemisante bo rov gufa. Tzitzis surrounds us, creates an environment around our body. The hashorish lo niskana adayin. Like we said, it didn't finish up. He didn't fix up the source inside of us. Rak shemauta b'levush shel yirah shamayim. Just he's wrapped himself up in a garment which which reflects Yerushalayim, Hamaskiru b'chol eis lebilti lasur acher hayrorim rezarim, which reminds us not to go after bad thoughts. So we have our tzitzis, we look at our tzitzis, right? And the tzitzis are there to say, hey, let me keep focus of what I'm doing here. Not that I've knocked that out, the other parts, right? But who kamo? All right, now he's going to talk about a little bit of a Kabbalah concept, but it's written in Chassidus Forum a lot. But who kamo or makif me Hashem Yisbarach. It's like a light which surrounds him. Shemakifu u'ma'ororo. It surrounds him and it wakes him up. Lizkor b'Hashem Yisbarach. He reminds him about Hashem and the Torah, and he won't go after it. Fine. So that's basically an overview of what tzitzis are. Tzitzis in general are a protective environment of Yerushalayim. It puts us into a reality that otherwise we wouldn't be connected to. It doesn't take away the Yetzer, but we say, let me go into a better environment. It's a little bit like what neighborhood you want to live in, right? We all know that based on the neighborhood we pick, it affects us. So the environment, the neighborhood that we live in, the environment we live in, is the world of tzitzis. That's the world of Yerushalayim that surrounds us, that creates a connection. And even though we're not now separated totally, but we have this connection. Okay. Now we're protected, so to speak. The Yedua. Now there's next step. The Yedua, the or makif. There's a certain idea that when we're surrounded with this light, there have to do in the spheres, it has to do with Kesser. Kesser means something which is above us, something which surrounds us, not within us. It's not our head, it's not our shoulders, it's not our legs, right? It's something above us. That's the Kesser, and that's the light above us. Pirush Shorish Hanela Shel Mekor HaOlodus HaMachshavos, which means it really comes from the source of where thoughts come from. Where are they born? If you want to talk about one of the fascinating ideas, but you don't want to make yourself crazy with this, is where do our thoughts come from? Where do thoughts come from? So basically, there's a few answers on this one, but basically, Rav Tzadok is saying it comes from a world called Kesser. It comes from above us. It's not something which is born in us. Somehow we just have thoughts that come to us, right? Some thoughts are actually tied very much into this world. But in general, the process of thought has to do with something which is above us. And they come from a higher place than us, right? And that's called the Kesser. And that's connected to Hashem's will. The Imu Dovik, Sham, the Hashem Yisbarach, if he connects in terms of my thoughts, what I really, really want on a deep level to Hashem, as Oro Makifo, then the same light surrounds him. V'chol makshavosav, v'ritzonosav, v'nimshochim mizeh, then all of the thoughts that he has, who bilti l'Hashem levad. Right, now we're going to go to a different level. This is now the level of tefillin. The level of tefillin it's above me. Again, the idea is that, again, the tefillin are above me, so they represent a reality. Sorry, let me just make a little pause over here. In terms of, I'm not a big student of Kabbalah or of these sort of things. That's definitely above me. But in general, there's a reality that is above us that our thoughts come from above us. They just kind of come into us. You know, you can't think about it too much. Like you think of where did my thought come from, and then you think about where did that thought come from, and you know. But to know that they come from a higher place, they come from Hashem's will. If a person says, I want to be connected to that will, I want to be connected to the source of where my thoughts come from. So that's the tefillin. Tefillin are something above me, something outside of me, something which rests with, can then get absorbed into my mind. And that's the idea. Tefillin is something which is above us, but then is absorbed inside of us. Right. The Zewat Tefillin, about 8 lines out, if you found the Zewat Tefillin, Shu Gam came, Lavush, V'or Makif. It's the same idea. We're also being surrounded. We're being surrounded by tzitzis, we're being by talis, we're being surrounded by our tefillin. Rak shu b'kshira v'devekus v'gamra. As opposed to tzitzis, which surrounds us, but doesn't necessarily stop us from the thoughts that pull us. It just says, below says, suru, you won't get pulled after your thoughts. Tefillin, if we wear them with the right kavanah, is to connect us with the higher will, and therefore that our mind is now in touch with that higher will, and we can connect to that higher will, and at that place, we are not distracted by the things that pull us into this world. And it's not just an issue of we're protecting ourselves by putting ourselves in an environment of tzitzis. We're now going to connect on a higher level and say, I want to connect my mind, my neshama, to the higher will itself. When I get to that place, so that's going to be a reality where all of the pulls for this world fall away, because I feel totally connected. I feel really like in tune with Hashem's will. That's now a different reality. Is that tefillin? Sorry. But the Yedua, the Bechitzonos, the Cheser, Umashlim Minyan HaEser Spheros. There's two ways of counting 10 spheres. Again, this is not anything we need to get into. One way of counting 10 spheres is Keser is the 10th. And there's another way, that's the outer way of counting it. Ubepanimius Hadas, Yoresh Chelka Lamaisa. And when the inner world, meaning which kind of like is when we're more down here, that's talking about Das, right? It's also something which is kind of like beyond us. Das is like getting some great insights. And also, Keser is above, also great insights, also both above us. But one is above and one is more kind of like within us. So if somebody really is merits and has the schus to connect and be connected, to be dovek with his thoughts in his head through tefillin, but to ritzonos halev al yedei tefillin shel yad, and his will, what he really wants is being done through the tefillin of the arm. Neged alev azocha ledas shu midas Moshe Rabbeinu. Then he gets the quality within him of Moshe Rabbeinu. Halav v'sholem shayanoki legamri mikol dimyonos ha'machshavas zaros. Moshe Rabbeinu's level was he didn't get pulled away by any side thoughts. Again, that's like a reality we almost can't imagine, but we can get tastes of it, right? But the idea is that if we use our tefillin as a way of saying, Hashem, I want my ratzon to be connected to your ratzon. I want that which is above me to be connected to your ratzon. So my will for this world should just kind of melt away, right? That's what the tefillin can accomplish. That's why there's a halacha that you guys maybe know. That when you wear your tefillin, you can't have your body dirty, right? You can't have to go to the bathroom. You guys probably know that. You can wear your tzitzis when your body is dirty, right? Not a problem. You can wear your tzitzis into the bathroom, right? But you can't wear your tefillin in there. Why? What's the difference? Halacha again. This is the kind of sefer that Rabbi Tzadok is. He's not talking about halachically why it is. That's the halacha. He's just telling us. The question is why? Why is it by tefillin our bodies have to be clean, and by tzitzis they don't have to be? What's unique about tefillin? So he says
because you're wearing tefillin. Sorry, I was going to say tefillin you're wearing at a certain time, where tzitzis you wear all the time, except when you sleep.
Okay, so fine. The question is, why is it like that? One of the reasons it's like that, Howie, is because we don't want to be passing gas in it. We don't want to have to go to the bathroom in there, right? But in theory, it didn't have to be like that. Hashem could have said, no problem, keep your tefillin on. The same way, again, it would be strange for us because we're not used to it. But in the same way, a person wears the tzitzis in the bathroom, you'd be like, where are you going to the bathroom? Right? That's why we don't. That's why we don't.
Isn't that the way? Isn't that the way it used to be? They used to wear tefillin all day. Right,
because they could watch them. And you go to the old city of Yerushalayim, there's a lot of nice Jews that walk around with tefillin all day. They wear it all day. Rav Zilberberg is whatever. The Chashiv, they have a big special group of people, not very, very fine people, and they wear it all day. It's not something we're used to, right? But the idea, either way, you have to have a guf naki. You can't have a clean. The body has to be clean. The question is, why is it like that? So he says, so there's one line of it, Zed Tefillin Tzrichen Guf Naki, Sheyia Naki Legamri Mikol Chukas Shel Olam Hazeh, Shel Inyani Olam Hazeh. Again, on a deeper level, he's going to get back on a simple level. On a deeper level, because the purpose of tefillin is to have my reality be in a higher world. When it says that my body is not clean, it's a way of saying that if my body really is yearning for this world, so then I can't get the benefit of my tefillin, and it's a contradiction to the world, to my tefillin, because my tefillin is all about clinging to a higher world, and my body being dirty, so to speak, means clinging to a world which is not clean, and therefore I can't be having them at the same time because it's a contradiction, right? He says on a more simple level, the gam pashti on the kiyus beguf mavata makshavas zaros. He says also anyway, when a person has a clean body, it doesn't pull in the thoughts, the negative thoughts. Kamosha Omer B'Yushalma, I'm on the second column for whoever's watching this on the other page. Like the Gemara says in the Gemara in Brochus, the reason we stay away from the excrement of a child, besides the fact that it's smelly, the Gemara Yushalmi says because when he lets out, again, it's a fascinating thing. We have a certain amount that, like, you have to blow off some steam, and you just need some time to let your head clear out. It's a little bit like going to the bathroom. Your body needs to clear out, right? So getting a guf naki means clearing things out. And when it's not clear, it means the body hasn't cleared things out and the mind hasn't cleared things out. That's the parallel. The ikr masha nikra mechanecha kodesh, when it says that our camp should be clean, should be pure, the harchakas hatzoa umibnei hamakshavas zaros. And he says the real reason we have to stay away from manure or from excrement, right, is because it represents something. It represents the parts that are impure. But for example, in the midbar, they didn't go to the bathroom, right? You guys, I don't know if you remember this. You learned this in Chumash. They didn't use the bathroom. They were afraid the stomach was going to blow up. Why does that mean they didn't go to the bathroom? The pshat was the level of purity was so great. So when they took in food, which was a parallel on a spiritual level, they didn't have to purify anything. It was all pure. The man was all pure. And that was a reality that they couldn't even imagine. They were like, at some point, we can't keep this up, right? There was going to be a reality that they can't handle. But so the fact that they didn't go to the bathroom represented a spiritual reality that was very intense, right? Very, very high. Which was why it says when we stay away from excrement, because it represents something on a deeper level. Okay. Right. Shabos misham shakadusha afucha. Right. Kedusha and the impurity of what we process that comes out as excrement, it's just the opposite. Right. Again, we're used to the idea, honestly, that you eat food, you're going to go to the bathroom, right? But it's not necessarily like that. I'll tell you a story. I said, wow, very nice. Shalom Isaac. Anyway, I'll tell you a story. There's a story of a David. This is like a David Fleischer story. This is a David Fleischer story. So they say about I heard the story about the Sar Shalom, who was one of the original Belzer Rebbe's. And when he used to eat, he used to pick up a piece of fruit, and he would hold it, just concentrate it, and then he would put it down. And the Chassidim would eat the apple afterwards. It had no taste. Which means that the Belzer Rebbe was able to take all of the energy, all of the holiness, whatever was in that food, and he didn't eat it. He got it anyway. He just got it without eating. So I don't know what that means. I mean, David, don't try to do this, please. Do me a favor. Why would I get upset with you? You don't. You know what I mean? But there's a certain reality that there's a spiritual existence where what we get used to is not necessarily the case. So when we use the bathroom, it's not necessarily the only reality there is. It's a reality because we have to let things out, right? On a spiritual level, we have to let things out. So that's a contradiction to tefillin, because tefillin is all about connecting. Where there's nothing else besides Hashem. Again, that's a very high level. But that's what it represents, at least. As it says, not only that, the fascinating Gemara, L'chein Omru, the Gemara says, Yifne v'yito. The Gemara says, this is a classic Hasidic pshat. This Gemara says you should use the bathroom and then wash his hands, put on talis and tefillin, say Shema, and that's the way of doing Ol Malchus Shemayim, completely, Shleima. So the Chassidish Sforim say, what does going to the bathroom have to do with Ol Malchus Shemayim? So on a simple level, it has nothing to do with it, right? If you're going to learn the simple pshat, just you have to go to the bathroom before you're allowed to daven. But this is what Rav Tzadok says. It said it in other places too. It sounds like when he's going to go to the bathroom, that's also part of Ol Malchus Shemayim. And the answer, according to Rav Tzadok, is it's true. Because when a person goes to the bathroom, it's not just a physical act. It's a spiritual act too. He's clearing things out. Again, we're used to that. That's the process of this world, right? The process of this world is we use the bathroom because we're used to the fact that there's good and bad mixed in together. After Adam Arisha, there's Tov and Ra mixed in together. Using the bathroom is our body's way of separating good from bad. There's ways of learning that when we learn, we daven, we're also separating good from bad. We have good thoughts, we have bad thoughts, right? There's a bath, so to speak, we've got to clear out, we've got to defecate, so to speak. We've got to clear out our minds, and that's the idea of using the bathroom. Using the bathroom is not just a physical act. It's a very important spiritual act in terms of clearing out the impurities inside of us. Therefore, it's very hard for us to do this. The person on this level to be connected, mamish, like this, you have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu, who's holding like Moshe Rabbeinu. Did anybody else lose the sound? Howie said he lost the sound. David, you hear me? Yeah, he hears me. Howie, something happened.
I hear you also.
Okay. Okay, I hope, whatever, you might want to go out and back in, Howie. Anyway, Ba'al Kain, therefore, Ba'al Kol Panim, Be'ez Tefillah, Yireh, She'yagil L'kach, Yos David B'Hashem Yisbarach. So here's the answer. How you asked this before. I think you paused. You're a little frozen. But that's the idea. Why we only wear tefillin only while we're davening? Because in general, we can only handle working on really close connection for a little part of our day. Yisbarach L'gamri. Totally. That we can only do at a certain amount of time, and our tefillin gives us like a little window into that world of connection, of deep, deep connection. But then he has to get in, put his foot in the door, put his tefillin on, but he can't do it all day. He can't hold by that high level. What he should do is put on his tzitzis for the rest of the day. So at least he can push off the foreign thoughts, which means when it comes to tzitzis, again, like we said, lo sasuru, don't turn after your heart. And like David told us earlier, that means the thoughts are still there. You just don't want to get pulled after it. That's what tzitzis represents. I'm wrapping myself in a world and trying to maintain an environment where I can be protected. But not that I've saved myself, and not I'm clinging to some super high place, that in that high place I'm not really interested in this world. No. I can't really do that. I'm not holding by that. But I can put myself in tzitzis. I can look at my tzitzis and say, hey, I want to create an environment of Yireh Shamayim. However, there is another part of us, which is tefillin, which is I want to be dovik. I want to cling in my thoughts and be pure. I don't want to use the, so to speak, I want to have a clear body. I want to have a clean body, which means I want to have that my interest should be deeply to connect to Hashem. Even though I can't do that all day, I want to do it a little bit of the day, right? I want to have some part of my day where I'm connecting on a deep level. That I can do one time a day, a little bit, right? That's my tefillin. And so each one has its time. Tefillin is that limited time event where I'm David in my thoughts, clinging to the higher world. And since this is the rest of the day where I can't hold myself to be on that level, but I can try to wrap up myself and be in a world of Yerushalayim, of connection to Hashem, and therefore at least stay away in the best of my ability. You guys got this? Fill in. Yes, David, go please.
So the fact that we can only, it's a little bit of an unfiltered question. The fact that we can only handle that close connection while davening, while putting on tefillin, like, so what if one wants to always be able to have that connection, and he sometimes is able to connect through other means and other ways? I'm sure you understand where I'm going with that.
Right.
So I mean, because it's like very difficult to just even in that specific time when you wake up and you go to put on tefillin and daven and try to connect on a high level. It's even difficult in that period of time where it's meant to be, in that set time. So all in all, always, how can you, like, just for that small period of time, also all the time, how can you always connect spiritually on a high level? Because I love, like, when I'm able to connect spiritually and just like literally like connect on a real level and just cry out and just like be real and not like just, oh, I want this, I want that. No, just be like, have a real connection. It feels amazing. It feels like the realest thing I've ever felt.
Right.
So how do you like connect, like when, like, because you can't just turn the switch on. It's not like a light switch. You know, just like, okay, let's connect. How do you like set yourself up to connect that way?
Great. I would say in terms of the piece that we just said, I got a few answers, a few thoughts on this. First of all, we said in terms of tefillin, right. It means, he said, "B'kol machshavos v'ratzon nosov nimshachim mizeh ubilti laHashem levado." He thinks, Hashem, I want to be in your world. I want to be connected to what you want. Like the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, to say ritzoncha kiritzona. Do what you want, but do it. But think about what Hashem wants. So, David, your question is it's a beautiful question, and to me, it has like a lot of levels. In general, the neshama wants to be connected. The neshama doesn't like being disconnected. It's not happy being like spinning in all of the craziness of our lives, right? So we want to be like, hey, I want to get at it. I want to be in a place of like, on a higher consciousness, right? That's what that's what the neshama wants. But one of the fascinating things about this world is Hashem wants us to get there through our own efforts. That's one of the things which is so fascinating, because honestly, Hashem doesn't have to. Hashem could he could like pick us all up. He could like make us in like Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur, total Dedekus. That's easy. Hashem could do that, right? He doesn't, right? Could he not do that for us? He could do that for us easily. But he has us in a world where the working towards it is what he really gets nachas from. So even though it's frustrating for the neshama to have to do the legwork of getting there, but it's the nachas that Hashem gets when we, who are very, very like mortal, very, very human, very not perfect. When we do our struggles and we say, hey, listen, I want to try to overcome with who I am and where I am. I'm not taking shortcuts. I'm going to do the work that Hashem apparently wants me to do. Now, that's not easy to do. It's important to have people to do that with. people who have like the priorities straight. And it's very, very hard because most people today, many, let's use many, want to take shortcuts to feeling connected with each other, with themselves, with Hashem, right? And that could be a lot of means. I mean, listen, I don't know if I kind of like, we're learning with you guys because I stepped out of this like in the Neve stuff, but like why would anybody want to do X, right? Why would anybody want to X, let's say? The answer is push it. It's push it. Why wouldn't anybody want to feel connected deeply to people and feel a sense of love? That's what we all want to be. You know what I mean? Anybody who wouldn't want that's crazy. The only thing is, how are we going to get there? And ultimately, because of the fact that if we let ourselves rely on something else, it's not us doing it, our neshamas stay in the same place, and in a certain way they get weaker. Because it's a little bit like someone running the race for us. So we never develop ourselves, and our internal sense of love and our internal sense of really like being connected it doesn't get carried through. It doesn't happen in my opinion. It's inspiring. It can be possibly used. I'm not saying it can't be used or it hasn't been used, but it's kind of taking the shortcut which doesn't get us really to the place of not only making the connection, but doing the hard work to get there. But does that make sense?
It makes sense. I understand what you're saying, but
okay.
Cool. You can't just use it as a tool, just like we use Torah and davening and tefillin, tzitzis. We use that as a tool to come closer to Hashem. So
Beautiful.
aren't they also tools? Because they could be used. You just said also they could be used, and they probably have been used. And I can attest to that fact myself. I've definitely used it to get closer.
Got it. I'm not telling you that it doesn't have a certain amount that it doesn't pull. It pulls us. It's very intense. And that's the point at which we have to know what halacha says. And I'll tell you how I look at halacha. And I'm not saying this is like the answer. We're in a world where we don't really talk to Hashem and know clearly what does he want. He put us in a world where things are covered up, right? And if a person tells you Hashem has told him exactly what he should be doing, so you know what I'm saying? Those are the guys that we bring into the places that they can keep an eye on those guys. But Hashem put us in a world where we don't know. It's not so clear. Halacha is Hashem telling you, David, Charlop, you know what I want? This is what I want. I really want you to get up in the morning and put on your tefillin and try to connect to me that way. What, you know what, Charlop, you know what, I really want you to keep Shabbos. So I want to do what does Hashem want from me? So that's where it becomes tricky, because I want to do his will like my will like his will, right? But sometimes it's going to be things where I don't necessarily like it. I have like things that I would feel like connected with and like I would kind of want to do. So it takes a lot of self-control and a lot of spiritual honesty to say, I get a real intense connection from this. This really moves me. But I really wonder, what does Hashem think about this? Like, I really want to do this if this is what Hashem wants, and if Hashem doesn't really want it, even though I really do want it, but I don't want to do it because I know that ultimately, if Hashem doesn't want it, it means it's not going to bring me to the place that he wants me to go. Because if the Baal wanted us to all do crazy stuff and bring us to these, like, he would have told us. He would have said, Charlop, your nose is in good shape right now. I want you to be doing things which will, you know what I'm saying? I want you to use your nose a little bit more. You're not using your nose enough. But he didn't say that. So the pshat is, I have to know that Hashem loves me, And if he tells me, don't use my nose, that means that it's not for my neshama. And he wants the best for my neshama and the growth in my neshama. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have a crazy experience when I'm using my nose. And it's going to feel totally intense and totally real. And totally like, this is it. For sure, this is it. But the only way but this world is such a complicated world, David. In my opinion, there are so many people that are thinking, this is it, right? There are 2 billion Christians walking around the world that say that Yoshki, he's it. Like, that's it, right? And there are 1.5 billion Muslims saying, like, this is it. And I'm not taking away from any of them, a lot of very fine people, right? But it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. Like some guy kind of hung up on the cross and, and like, that's God. I just think it's, but there are a lot of people like, this is it. So when we come to this is it, we got to be very careful. And we have to, Mamish Daven Hashem, tell me what you really want. Tell me what is it. Tell me help me see the emes. Help me feel the emes. And don't necessarily, and let me be honest about a hard road. And if it's going to be a hard road that you want, let me just try to be open to that, knowing that I'm not going to have an easy time. Does this make sense, David, to you? I'm telling you, this is my answer. This is how I respond to this question. I'm not telling you if it's right or wrong. I think there's some elements of truth in it. But I'll tell you the difference of it. For me, the answer is not an intellectual answer of Asr, Mutter, Mitzvah. It's true, and you got to weave it in. But today, our internal world, our emotional world, is what has to be addressed. And if we're not addressing our emotional world, we're not dealing with the issues. So over here, I'm telling you, that's my answer because I feel for me, that's how I addressed it for my own emotional world. There's certain things that if the Torah didn't say it, I would definitely be doing differently. I would. I can't say I was ever a big drug guy, but but there are certain things that I would do. I think I'd be much more into different types of music. I don't know. I'm a kind of tame kind of guy. I'm not out way out there. But I think each one of us has things that we would be doing that the Torah didn't say. Would I be not selecting raisins from nuts on Shabbos? Because I don't think I would do that. I don't wake up in the morning I don't wake up Shabbos morning thinking like, wow, I really don't want to be separating the raisins from the nuts. Because wow, I just can't stand separating raisins. The Banjim said there's something amazing, deep about borer. I don't get it. Again, what happened to be that what we learned today was all about borer. Borer is going to the bathroom because borer is separating, and separating what's really good from what's really bad on a physical level looks like going to the bathroom. On a spiritual level, it looks like me deciding what does Hashem really want. And deciding what do I really think Hashem doesn't want. And I got to know that I'm going to be an interested party. In the same way that I'm going to eat things which I know are not good for me, right? I know that deep fat fried foods are mamish delicious, but I know it's not good for me. I know pizza's fun to eat. I know it's not good for me. There's a lot of things in this world that are not good for me and not good for you and not for us. But they're very tempting. So it takes a lot of spiritual honesty to not get sucked into, a life of not being as honest as we could be. You want to respond? Want to say what you're thinking?
Not really, no.
Fine. I'll tell you what, if you want to continue at some point privately, feel free to be in touch. And if you decide you don't want to discuss it, that's also fine.
No, I think it's a great discussion, and I don't have a problem discussing it publicly at all.
It's a wonderful discussion, though. And honestly, when I was in the day, I had, listen, you guys know a little bit. I didn't grow up from, I had a certain amount of journeying that I did myself. I didn't do the insane things that the day guys did. I didn't. I came from a pretty settled world, but I did some things which are like most Rebbes don't do. So I had certain experiences, right? And I had to really process, like, what was that about? Like, why did I go there? What did I gain from it? Why do I think the Torah doesn't want that? And not like this processing was not an easy step for me. It wasn't. I got to tell you, I never liked weed. I just never did. Some people like weed. I never liked weed. Maybe like uptight, whatever. And today it's a different thing. Today it's a drug. Today it's all chemically engineered. You take 2 hits and you're out to the planet Mars. You know what I mean? It's insane today. It's not the same thing. It's a total different reality. And when I was, in my days, it was a plant. It was you grew it in the ground and it grew and it was a plant. And today it's like 17 levels of chemical engineering. So you can get the guy whacked out. And today it's dangerous. Today it's a dangerous thing. We've lost a couple of guys the past couple of years. We got a guy in Muncie who's gone. He's done. Hashem should help him come back. I mean, it's scary business today. Scary business. That's a different schmooze. That's like a personal fear thing that I have and from what I've experienced in the past few years about what's happened to some guys. That's a different thing. But that's not the philosophical thing about it is a good idea. It's not a good idea. But and honestly, David, at the end of the day, you have to do your processing and you've got to look for your emes. And I try to do it, and I'm trying to do it, to look for my processing and my emes. And I want to know what does Hashem want from me. And sometimes I want to do that, and sometimes I don't want to do it. And sometimes I like the answers, and sometimes I don't like the answers. And I can just, search, be honest, be real. And be ready to hear no, and be ready to hear yes.
Cool.
Okay, Rabosai, David, I really appreciate your sharing and your asking.
My pleasure.
You should be successful in your journey.
Amen.
Everybody should be successful in their journey. Just to say, Shmuel Nussbaum just came out. I got a shout out for Shmuel. It's a shame. So you guys got to go. Since Shmuel, again, in general, you got to go tzitzis, an environment. We want to put ourselves in good environments. Tefillin, we can only limit, in a certain limit, connect ourselves to a high reality, kind of push ourselves into that world, but we should know that that's not the world we're going to be living in, that we have to just try to keep going, and hopefully we get there. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Really a treat.
Thank you. Go on.
Very good. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you later.
Good photo.